Okay, you're live.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome to DTCX Human vs. AI, striking the right balance in 2026. I'm Alana Arthur, Senior Ecosystem Marketing Manager at Gorgias, and your host for today. I'm genuinely excited about the lineup we've put together today. We've got perspectives from across the DTC ecosystem on the most important questions in e-commerce right now. Where does AI actually fit? And what does that mean for the people running your business? So while folks are still trickling in, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. Maybe just throw in your name, where you're joining from, even your favorite e-commerce brand or one you work with. It'd be awesome for everyone to get a sense of who's in the room today. Awesome. All right, so Gorgias Connect is back, and this year it's going global. So we're bringing the roadshow to New York, Los Angeles, London, and Paris in 2026. It's your chance to sit down with the e-commerce operators, CX leaders from top Shopify brands, and learn how they're scaling support, driving revenue, and doing more with less. You can go ahead and scan that QR code in the right to apply to attend in your preferred city. Okay, so let's jump in. A couple housekeeping items here. So this webinar is a part of our ongoing DTCX series here at Gorgias. If this is your first one, welcome, welcome. DTCX is where we bring together merchants, tech platforms, and agencies from across the Shopify ecosystem to share what's working right now in e-commerce. What keep these conversations tactical, relevant, and actionable. So make sure to ask questions along the way. The more questions, the better. Use the chat to comment, engage with our speakers, or share any takeaways that you might have as we go through each session. Amazing. Okay, so let me quickly introduce you to today's speakers. We have an incredible lineup. We've brought together a great group of partners, each shaping the customer journey from a different angle, and all actively navigating the balance between human support and AI. You'll hear from Postscript, Simplesat, Consio, Talentpop, and of course, Gorgias. What makes this group especially valuable is that they're not just talking about this shift, they're in it every single day. So helping brands decide what to automate, where humans matter most, and how to scale both effectively. So you're going to get a really practical behind the scenes look at what the balance is in 2026. Okay, so before we get into the full agenda of speakers today, I want to open with a short set from my perspective, because at Gorgias, we sit across over 17,000 DTC brands, and that gives us a pretty unique window into how this human versus AI question is actually playing out on the ground. So not what the trends reports say, but what brands themselves are discovering in their real support queues in real time. So let me share what we're seeing. So the title of today's event is Human versus AI. I want to start by saying that framing is really deliberate and provocative. And I think the most useful thing I can offer is this. The brands doing best right now have largely stopped treating it as a us versus all. So over the next 10 minutes, I'll show you what we're doing instead and why. So every conversation our team has had around DTC leaders right now goes one of two ways. Either they're asking, should we replace our support team with AI? And they're feeling maybe a little bit guilty about it, or they're digging in saying our customers want to talk to real humans, using that as a reason to hold off on AI entirely. Both of those framings are kind of missing the point. So the brands winning in 2026 aren't choosing between humans and AI. They're using AI to make their humans more powerful and deploying their humans to do the things AI simply cannot do. The real competition isn't human versus AI. It's AI-powered brands versus brands that haven't really moved forward yet. So let me ground this in some data, because This isn't really philosophy, it's kind of math, right? So across AI-enabled e-commerce brands, roughly 60% of support tickets are now being resolved without any human involvement. The AI handles it start to finish. That number was unthinkable 3 years ago. It's now table stakes. The cost gap is 12 times. An AI interaction costs around 60 cents. A human agent interaction runs $6 to $8. The real ticket volume, say 10,000 tickets a month, you're looking at 6 figures annually just sitting on the table. And the one that surprises people the most, brands using AI-powered chat are converting 23% better than those that aren't. Because a customer who gets an instant answer at 2 o'clock in the morning is a customer who buys. That's not cost saving, that's quite frankly growth. So where does AI structurally win? Not just quote unquote perform well, but genuinely outcompete humans. Okay, so number one, speed to scale. An AI agent handles 1,000 simultaneous conversations, responds in under 2 seconds every single time. There's no queue, no hold music, no staffing model that can replicate that. So number two, it's in its consistency. So every customer gets the same accurate on-brand answer. There's no variance by shift, by agent, by day of the week. That reliability alone changes the customer experience. And number three, economics. An AI agent is 12 times cheaper per interaction. We just covered that math in the slide previously, okay? And that's not really small. And number four, and this last one always gets a little bit underestimated, but AI as a revenue driver, when AI is answering pre-sale questions instantly, size and compatibility, what's the difference between two products? Browsers, or those looking for new products, those are the ones that start to convert. Brands are seeing up to and half times higher conversion on AI-powered chat. That's not a support metric, that's actually a growth metric that we're trying to demonstrate. Okay, so now, and I want to be super direct on this point, apologies in advance, but none of this is an argument that AI replaces everything. That's not really the observation. It's not really representing that way in the data either. So there are 3 things humans still own in customer experience and probably always will. So number one, that's the emotionally complex situations. So when a customer is going through something genuinely hard, a loss, a real frustration that's escalated beyond a transaction, they need a human, full stop. AI can simulate empathy, but it isn't really the same thing. Number 2 is high value relationships. Your top customers, your VIPs, your brand advocates deserve real human attention. That relationship is worth protecting. And number 3, brand judgment in gray areas, exception requests, edge cases, the moments where someone needs to make an actual judgment call about what's right for the brand and the customer. Those belong to your team. This is the insight I keep coming back to, and it's the one I think gets lost in the human versus AI debate. AI doesn't replace your support team, it makes them unstoppable. Think about what it means when an AI is handling 60% of your tickets, the tracking updates, the return status checks, the where's my order at midnight. Your human agents are freed up to do the work that actually matters, the work that builds loyalty, the work that turns a frustrated customer into someone who tells their friends about your brand. The support teams we see thriving right now aren't the ones who registered AI and the ones who blindly automate everything. They're the ones who figured out the right division of labor. AI handles the volume, humans own the relationship, and together the team can do more than either could ever do alone. These aren't really hypotheticals, so let me give you 3 brands you probably already know. Shinesty, I'm sure everyone has heard of Shinesty. 54% of their tickets are now fully resolved by AI. No human input. Their teams went from answering the same questions on repeat to focusing on creative, high-touch CX moments. They didn't fire anyone either. They upgraded their team's entire job description. Okay, so next up we have Psycho Bunny, another great example. They cut first response time by 99.4%. Think about what that means, from 4+ hours to under 2 minutes. And CSAT didn't drop. It held steady while costs came down significantly. And the last example here is Kirby Allison. They switched from their provider, starts with a Z, ends with a desk. And within their first month, nearly a third of all their tickets were handled entirely by AI with no human involvement. 1 month. That's not a long pilot program. That's very, very quick. And that is immediate ROI. These brands didn't debate human versus AI. They just deployed it. And they're better for it, really. So what does this actually look like in practice? The brands doing this really well aren't just plugging in a chatbot and calling it a day. They're running AI at 2 distinct stages of the customer journey. And the division of labor is intentional. So number 1, pre-sale. Conversational AI that meets the customer where they're in their discovery mode, answering product questions, recommending them the right item, recovering abandoned carts. So the goal is to make sure no intent goes unfulfilled just because it's 11 p.m. or your team is handling something else somewhere else. Number 2 is post-sale. Automated support that resolves the high volume, predictable stuff, right? So tracking, returns, order changes without a human needing to touch it. And when something genuinely needs a person, it routes there cleanly. The result is a support org that isn't just cheaper to run, it's faster, more consistent, and frees your team to focus on the moments that actually build the relationship. This is exactly the model Gorgias is built for. And if you want to dig deeper in that today, feel free to reach out to me directly after this webinar. I'll throw my LinkedIn handle in the chat, okay? So I want to leave everyone with some context on where the market is right now. The AI customer service market hits $15 billion in 2026. FYI, that's not a forecast for 2030. That is this year alone. So 45% of incoming support queries are now handled by AI without a human touching them. And for every dollar brands invest in AI-powered support, they're seeing $3.50 back. So every month you're spending deliberating whether AI is right for your brand, whether your customers will accept it, whether the technology is quote unquote ready. Your competitors are already deploying. They're getting faster. They're getting cheaper. They're converting better. The risk isn't really moving too fast. The risk is actually just waiting. Okay, so here's where I want to leave you with. Okay, so don't choose between human and AI. That framing is a bit of a trap. Okay, so the brands that stay stuck in it are going to watch their competitors get faster, cheaper, and more effective quarter over quarter, right? So the opportunity is straightforward. Start with your highest volume, lowest complexity tickets. That's where AI delivers ROI fastest and with the least risk. Redeploy the time and attention you free up toward the customer and the moments that actually matter to rebuild your brand. And treat this as a compounding advantage, not just a one-time project. The brands that started 6 months ago are already ahead. The ones starting today can still catch up, okay? So that's it. That's the view from where I sit. Thank you everybody so much. Watching thousands of brands navigate exactly this question, this is why I'm really curious to hear how it resonates with everyone else on today's lineup. We've got a great set of perspectives coming up, so let's just keep the conversation going. If anything I talked about today was useful, you can find us at gorgias.com. And with that, let's get into it. So up next, we have Nigel Bannister, Head of Partnerships from Consio. Over to you, Nigel.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Once Alana stops the screen share, I can take over. See everyone alive and well in the chat. That's good. Keep it up. We're going to try and leave a couple minutes for some Q&A towards the end. But with that, let's get into it a little bit. So super excited for this topic, human versus AI. I think a theme that's going to come up a lot and is coming up a lot in the AI conversation today is where can we redeploy our human talent when AI is making their lives easier? So phone is a super high leverage channel for any e-commerce business, whether it is an inbound call pre-purchase or maybe even like an outbound clienteling call. Maybe you're reaching a checkout abandoner. Phone converts, and it's a huge opportunity to have AI working alongside humans. So we're going to get into some real call examples, call recordings of brands using phone as a high leverage channel, and also chat a little bit about AI automation. With that, just a few slides to set the scale of, set the stage rather, for what we're talking about today. The most valuable shoppers are the ones you talk to on the phone. So those are your people who are pre-purchase in a consideration phase, who are calling in for more information. Maybe they have like a hesitation and they just want to hear, human voice talk them through it. Or like I alluded to before, outbound and clienteling, reaching your VIP customers over the phone in a way they'll really appreciate, helping checkout abandoners. The problem is brands have a phone number on their website, but they can't really track the ROI in a lot of cases. How many sales can we attribute to our support team handling an inbound call? A lot of teams have large phone number lists, but only use SMS blasts and aren't using voice as a channel for clienteling and deepening your relationships. And finally, with phone comes a lot of very repetitive calls that you can automate with AI. So where is my order? Your order status is right here. I just texted you your tracking link. That's something that can be handled by an AI. How to submit a return, basic policy questions. And this frees you up to redeploy your talented agents to really make an impact with those conversations that are going to drive revenue and loyalty. Quick one on Consio. So we've got the full suite for engaging with your customers over voice. So the best AI voice agent for e-commerce. It has your full customer context, their past orders, their full conversation history. AI can answer 24/7, take actions, resolve calls, and also route to humans as you would choose and configure. Consio also comes with e-com calling campaigns. So these are your checkout abandoners, your VIP customers. Maybe you just launched a loyalty program and you have a bunch of loyal VIP customers from the past years, and you want to reach out to them and say, hey, you've got X amount of loyalty points. Just wanted to give you a courtesy call, help you get set up and start using those rewards that you've earned as a VIP. And lastly, we're really an AI phone hub. So all of your phone support that's routing through AI agents, that's going to your team, as well as any sales efforts, clienteling, all under one roof and integrated with the most common e-com help desks like our friends here at Gorgias. On the AI voice, it's got the full context of the customer, just like a human would. So they can see the previous conversation, prior calls, text messages, all of the info about that customer, who they are, where they're calling in from, their past orders. It's also got your product catalog, and that's your prices, descriptions, variant SKUs. So your AI can really talk through any customer issue, but also product recommendations. It can also take actions like transfer to humans, send SMSs, and draft orders as well. So to get into our first really cool example of a brand using humans and AI in conjunction to really drive an impact with the phone number on their website, we have Andor Willow right here. So they sell these beautiful wall panels you can see on my screen that are really beautiful, but they're quite expensive. Customers have a lot of questions about installation. And so the phone number on their website offers a really clear path for customers to get quick answers tailored to them and complete their purchase with confidence. So we're going to do a pretty cool little call recording that's animated for your enjoyment.
Making my day right now. Thanks for a big help, man. That's why I needed
just mute myself so that we're not getting an echo.
somebody to call me back. I'm going to order these then. Making my day right now. Thanks for a big help, man. That's why I needed somebody to call me back. I'm going to order these then.
Hello, this is Rachel. I am Andor Willow's assistant. How can I help today?
Yes, I'd like to speak with someone about paintable slatted wall panels.
To give you the best assistance, could you tell me a bit about your project?
78 feet long, 22 inches high.
For a 78 feet long wall using the paintable MDF panels, you'll need 21 boxes. What day and time would be best for a representative to call you?
Right now.
Okay, I've got it. I'll make sure one of our representatives calls you back as soon as possible.
Hi, this is Nathan. I'm calling from Willow.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I got your inquiry with the paintable panels that you're interested in.
Let me ask you something. Let me just hold you right there.
Sure.
If I buy 9-foot panels, how many panels do I need?
2 boxes.
Okay.
Okay, because you're going to cut it, correct?
Yes. I wanted to make sure that was it. I just wanted to make sure how many were per box.
Yeah.
So I'm going to order these then.
Okay.
See, you're a big help, man. That's why I needed somebody to call me back.
Absolutely, man. Just to make sure again, when are you going to order?
Today.
But we're actually running a promotion right now. Have you seen that on the website?
That I have not seen it.
And you will get 10% discount.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your help.
Absolutely, man. And you know what?
Man, you're making my day right now because I thought it was going to be like $1,000 for these things.
Absolutely, man.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your help.
Absolutely, man. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you again.
Call your customers. Close more.
I mute myself. All right. So that example, super cool. We've got Pam. That's our AI agent from the office. She's answering all of their initial client calls. If it's something like order tracking, she can give that answer straight away. And then we save our human rep there, Michael Scott, for people who are pre-purchased, they need confirmation, and are ending up placing orders. This example here, this brand here, HK Army, they're a paintball brand. They've got an influencer that really resonates with their customer base. So we've taken his voice and now we're leaving voicemails when we're doing outbound clienteling through our platform. And we've also set this influencer voice clone to be the AI agent when their customers call in. But let's check out what voicemail they're leaving checkout abandoners.
Influencer voicemail drops. Yo, Mr. H from HK Army checking in. I see you on hkarmy.com. That tells me one thing. You're ready to level up. So here's what you're going to do. Use code FREESHIPHK at checkout. Boom. Free shipping. No fluff. Free ship HK at checkout. But here's the deal. Success favors the ones who move. You wait too long, you miss the moment. You hesitate, you lose your edge. You want to win? Then show up prepared to smash heads. Time to get to work.
All right, so that's a fun voicemail touch point, super powerful for customers to receive that. It really stands out. And then we've obviously imitated their influencer and done so in their brand's voice. Finally, we've got an example of some outbound clienteling here for a jewelry brand. Let's hear what this call sounds like.
VIP concierge.
This is Jose from Clocks and Colors. How's it going?
Wow, what's up? I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. We are just going through our long-time customer list. How are your pieces holding up so far?
One on my finger is super rad right now. I'm wearing it. I feel like you dialed in your machine work. This thing is definitely super intricate. I have the Black Widow one.
Okay.
And I'm really pleased with it. It's such a beautiful piece, and I just really like you guys, man. You guys are super rad, and customer service was absolutely outstanding.
Oh, and actually, for being a long-time customer, would love to hook you up with a VIP discount code. How does that sound for you?
Dude, that sounds fantastic, brother.
Perfect. Can you check your email for me, please, so we can just make sure we have received it?
Oh, yeah, 10%
phone tap. Definitely.
Dude, Jose, dude, do the shit, bro. I really appreciate it. That's super rad. I really appreciate it.
It's all right.
Tell the boys I really appreciate it, and also
I will.
Good work for yourself because
Thank
I really appreciate that call, man. It goes above and beyond. Like I just said, man, your customer service is wild, and just getting a call and of appreciation means a lot. I kind of needed that. Just you guys are super cool, man.
That's good. Well, anyway, Lee, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I really appreciate you.
Have a good one, Lee. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you, Jose.
Talk to your customers. Close more sales.
All right, that last example, pure outbound call play, but you hear how well received it is by the customer and really driving loyalty and really creating these cool interactions every day for their brand. One last on the customer story. So this is back to Andor Willow, our first example. They're doing around 200K in phone sales per month from calling their abandoned checkouts at a high AOV and like high consideration purchase. Would definitely recommend. But we're powering these types of interactions for a variety of e-com verticals, whether you're selling beautiful floral travel bags or CBD supplements, tables, jewelry. There's a high leverage play for you to engage your customers over the phone and use AI to support that. So for Consio, if anyone's interested in hearing what your voice AI would sound like, we're happy to build an agent for you for free based on your store that you can talk to. And we'll even give you 1,000 free minutes worth of credits for you to test it out. So open up for a little bit of Q&A here if anyone's got any questions. If not, we'll move on to our next speaker.
Thanks, Nigel. That was awesome.
Right.
We appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much for
Awesome.
having me.
Perfect. So we actually have a giveaway from our friends at Consio. It's a $75 Uber Eats, and our winner is Misty Overstreet. So Misty will be sure to email that out to you. Thanks so much. Awesome. Okay, on to the next. We have Rally Khouri from Postscript. She is a senior product marketing manager. Rally, fabulous. Over to you.
Thank you. Okay, hi everyone. It's really great to be here. My name is Riley. I'm a senior product marketer at Postscript. I've been in the SMS game for over 5 years now, which sounds really crazy. And the last 3 of those, I've really heavily focused on conversational marketing and AI. So I'm really excited to share with you what we are hearing from consumers on what their expectations are from SMS marketing, where brands are falling short, and how AI can help you close that gap. So we've been talking about conversational marketing for years, but it has always felt like this nice to have add-on. You know, of course, every marketer wants to talk to their customers, but really only if you had the bandwidth and the budget to do it. But in 2026, this is really shifting from a novelty to a necessity. And here's why. It's the ChatGPT effect on shopping. As people are increasingly turning to tools like ChatGPT to help them with their problems, their behaviors around shopping are also changing. So for example, traditionally I might Google skincare for dry skin, but today I'm going to open ChatGPT and I'm going to say something like, I just moved to New York, my skin is suddenly really dry, I'm looking for a new moisturizer, maybe something with SPF. Why would I give ChatGPT all this extra context? Well, it's because I know the answer is going to be significantly better than the one on the left. Consumers are willing to give way more information about what they want in exchange for a better answer and a product that really fits their needs. So you might be thinking, cool, this is great, but how do I own a conversation like this with my customers? Well, SMS is your brand's short code. It's your GPT. It's innately conversational. It's an owned marketing channel that you have control over, and it's persistent. You and the customer can go back at any time and continue the conversation in the same thread. So the more that consumers are relying on AI tools in their personal and professional lives, the more they expect that anything that looks like a chat box is going to function the same. It's going to be fast, relevant, and it's going to sound natural. This year, we surveyed over 1,000 consumers on their expectations around SMS marketing, and the results really do support this shift in expectations. 82% of consumers said that being able to text a brand would increase their likelihood to buy, but a 24-hour SLA just isn't going to cut it anymore. 50% expect a response within less than 1 hour, and 15% said less than a minute. And they don't just want to know about, promos and shipping notifications. They want to ask questions about your products, and they want to get help with product recommendations. So in short, they do want to text with you, and they want your help deciding what to buy. But most brands today just simply can't meet these incredibly high expectations. We're talking about thousands, even millions of subscribers. Customer support teams simply don't have the bandwidth to do it. Outsourcing can be really expensive and it doesn't scale. And so the experience for most brands looks like something like this: an autoresponder text saying, we don't monitor SMS, please email support. In the meantime, this expectation gap is growing and it's costing brands thousands of dollars. Lost sales when customers can't get the help that they need, frustration over a poor customer experience, and losing out to a competitor who can fix this problem much faster. Without AI, we just simply can't close this gap. But luckily, we are at a stage where with AI, we can have one-to-one conversations at scale and we can make them profitable. We launched Shopper, our AI shopping assistant, last spring. And by the end of 2025, we had conversations with over 500,000 subscribers and drove over 4 million in revenue tied to those conversations. And kind of insider information here, but that number today is averaging around 1 million per month. So we'll watch like a quick demo of what this looks like in action.
Shopper is your brand's AI shopping assistant for SMS. Let me show you how you can create and activate Shopper in your own Postscript account in minutes. Shopper is automatically trained on your product catalog. The next step is to fill out your brand center. This is the gateway to all Postscript AI products, and it's how you train the AI model on your brand voice, give your shopper a persona, and add important links like FAQs. Next, fill out your shopper settings. And this is my favorite part. You can have a conversation with your own shopper before you ever even turn it on. Just text shopper demo to your phone number or scan the QR code. Once you're happy with the settings, hit activate and send your first conversational campaign. You'll be able to see all of your conversations, insights, and analytics right inside Postscript. Here's a conversational campaign example from Original Grain. They offered to help their subscribers find a perfect Valentine's Day gift by asking if their receiver is a whiskey drinker, craft beer lover, musician, or military man. They didn't need to create a flow with multiple branches based on subscriber responses. They just hit send, and Shopper took it from there. The customer responses were incredibly detailed. One subscriber wanted a watch slim enough to comfortably fit under his sleeve. Since Shopper knows Original Grain's entire product catalog, it was able to recommend a watch that the customer loved and purchased. With Shopper, brands can create a truly personal shopping experience that converts more sales, builds brand loyalty, and uncovers valuable customer insights. We can't wait to text with your shopper.
Okay, so as you saw, getting started with conversational marketing can be pretty straightforward. But after working with hundreds of brands, I've learned a lot about what it takes to create a really great conversational experience. So here are my top 3 tips on how to work with AI in the best way here. First is that not all AI shopping assistants are created equal. Delivering a truly great experience is not simply taking an LLM and then feeding it your FAQs. That's the 80% demo version. The real world is so much messier. Every e-commerce brand is different. Your catalog structure, your meta fields, your discount logic, and customers don't ask really like neat, predictable questions. They layer context, they reference past promotions, and they drop off mid-conversation. So an AI assistant has to be able to handle these edge cases accurately and then still sound like your brand. That last 20%, the nuances, the compliance guardrails, the real-world complexity, that's really what determines if the experience is going to actually drive revenue. So when you're evaluating solutions, really ask whether it can handle that messy reality of your business and how long the team has been obsessing over the details. My next step is to start documenting your brand voice and knowledge, the unwritten rules about your brand, the products, whatever you would share with a new team member joining. You're the stewards of your brand, and that's never going to change. You know what your brand sounds like. You know what your founder sounds like. But oftentimes I find that those rules are just not documented clearly in a way that we can then train an AI model on it. So take the time to document and update your brand guidelines. And finally, e-commerce brands are moving really quickly to adopt new AI tools like Shopper. But the reality is that most e-commerce stores were simply not built with AI optimization in mind. This shows up right away during onboarding. So the vast majority of the problems that really slow us down are not due to a technical limitation of Shopper. It's gaps in the underlying training data. So critical information maybe is missing from the Shopify store, or it's just structured in a way that's not AI friendly. So that's why I think that AI web optimization is going to be as big, if not more so, than SEO. And the brands that really win here are going to be the ones whose sites are structured not just for humans and search engines, but for AI agents who are reading, interpreting, and recommending products. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, first, AI tools perform much better with concrete examples over vague directions. So if your brand voice is bold, don't just say that, provide examples of bold statements and common phrases that you would use. So the more explicit that you are, the more accurate the AI can represent you. Second, think about your product catalog and your website in the same way. If an AI agent were to crawl it, what would it actually be able to deduce about your products and your brand, especially from like a beginner's mindset, somebody who doesn't know your industry, doesn't know your products very well? Is key context missing from your product pages? Is important information only communicated visually? For example, I find that nutrition labels are often uploaded just as images, but an AI agent, they can't reliably interpret images, and even if they can, text-based information is just always going to be more accurate and dependable. So optimizing for AI means making your content explicit, complete, structured, and text accessible. When you do that during shopper onboarding, you're not just improving performance on our tool, you're future-proofing your store for any AI-powered experience that's coming next. So Shopper is part of our Postscript AI plan, along with the Brand Center. This is where you manage your brand guidelines, your training materials, your product catalog, really like everything that makes your brand you. We also offer infinity testing, which uses AI to test infinite variants of your SMS automations and campaigns, and is continuously optimizing and learning what works. If you want to just really quickly, in a really kind of easy way, test if AI can drive more revenue for your brand, infinity testing is really where you should start. We also have a bunch more AI innovations coming in 2026. So reach out to the Postscript team, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to chat with you as well. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Rally. That was great. Okay, so next up we have Owen McKee from Simplesat. He is the sales director and head of partnerships. Thanks for joining, Owen. Over to you.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you all. And I mean, we've already seen a lot of interesting facts coming out there, some startling numbers. And I think when we're looking at Simplesat, the way that we're looking at this is, how do we design an operation that removes, with the implementation of AI, it removes that friction, but still builds that trust that you need with humans, right? So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that customer experience and how you deploy that across an organization, and why you need to ensure that you're not eradicating the trust, right? So it's quite clear that CX is going to become totally AI native as a first-end engagement. And what we need to do is, within the Simplesat environment, is we look at that as being something that needs to be constantly measuring that. So whether you're using AI first, whether you're using human first, whether there's a combination of those things, what you're looking to try and do is to make sure you're not losing that level of engagement. AI has a role to play, but we've sort of coined the phrase of human-centered automation, and that's where we balance off these two factors. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about that and just identify certain areas where we think that we can make a difference across that whole environment. But first off, I mean, we're operating today in a fast-moving environment, right? And it's clear that all businesses have a challenge. All stakeholders have different views, right? And there's different motivations. And so if you're looking at the C-suite, they're obviously looking at cost efficiencies, and whether that is potential headcount. I think we started off the call talking about where headcount was a threat, right? And the initial indication of AI being deployed was considered a huge risk to BPO providers and the level of headcounts provided that are needed. We regard it more as a measurement of quality, so that when you're taking that human intervention, what you're looking at is you're able to measure the total impact, right? So it's not seen immediately if you're deploying AI or were conventional agent-driven engagements. You see that over a protracted period of time. So needing to measure that at all stages, it's very important. And if you can see specific trends, then you have that option to be able to look at that and find resolutions. And so ultimately, with the deployment of AI, you still need to be easy to work with. And that old adage, if you're not easy to work with, then people will move on. People have choice. And we see in today's world the amount of choice that's available through different brands. So I think you're looking at three separate areas of the business. We try to identify these three things, right? Within the C-suite, they have their options. Within the CX arena, they're looking at making sure that that level of engagement, that level of understanding is still at the correct level. But they still need this human factor. They still need the empathy that goes with that. And ultimately, the operators, what they're looking at is, do you make their job easier? And if that job does become easier, of course, better job satisfaction, higher levels of quality engagement with customers as well. But critical to all of this is the ability to measure these at each individual stage. So when that reporting comes back, you're looking at the total impact. And that needs to be measured over a period of time, because just by deploying AI in an immediate fashion, everyone's looking for that panacea. And the truth of that is, it can have an immediate impact, but it's the impact over time that you need to track and regulate, and just make sure that that is keeping the standards that you've set as a brand and it's not eroding trust. So from a breakdown perspective, what we've looked at here, and what I'd like to talk about, is the idea of where you deploy these things. So the understanding that AI is a front line is fine in a lot of cases, and they can look at the high levels of deflection points. But it isn't just about the deflection points. It's more about reducing the level of impact on the business, but also reducing the customer effort and time. So if someone needs a new password, for example, or there are predictable answers, where's my password, that kind of thing, of course AI can do that. But there are certain guidelines that need to be deployed. There are certain customers that you never would want to have engagement with AI. You would want them automatically to go into the human agent-led environment. And so if you consider that human escalation, where they start to deliver their value or continue to enhance their value is where you get those emotive situations. You know, how many times have we been on a call where you're talking to an AI and the customer is actually constantly saying, agent, agent, agent. That's all they want to do, is they want to feel heard. And you need to track and regulate that, because without that level of insight, that level of satisfaction, you haven't closed the loop. And that's essentially where this feedback layer comes, right? So you're constantly tracking, did it impact that? Is your frontline AI working? Do you need to look at changing some of those paths? And what is this balance between making sure that the AI is delivering exactly what your expectations were at a cost that your expectations are set at? I mean, David's going to talk a little bit in his suite about the costs of providing these services. But ultimately, the total cost is that of, are you keeping customer attention? Are you getting a level of feedback from your customers that is not just enhancing the experience, but retaining that customer, increasing value, offering alternative opportunities for procurement, right? We're seeing a huge move towards automated encouragement via AI of people buying products. So this upsell concept, we see that a lot in the Gorgias environment, very proactive in that engagement. But without tracking that level of sentiment, without tracking that level of feedback, is that truly reflecting your brand? Those are questions that you need to work your way through. Oops, sorry. So connecting these dots. Yeah, sorry. Just move that. So connecting the dots here, right, is that, do you need to satisfy the C-suite? There are obviously tasks with making sure that it's cost effective in its deployment. So just by identifying that AI may reduce the cost of your initial engagement with customers, and AI is going to answer the first two very quickly, right? If you look at cost and growth, it quite clearly, some of the metrics we've already seen, some of the metrics we've already heard, and we'll hear later in the presentation, can do that. But brand trust is something that can erode over time. So making sure that at all stages you're operating in a closed loop environment, looking at those trends, seeing that in a dynamic fashion whereby you're able to react. So for example, if you get a negative feedback and you're starting to see that negative feedback on a consistent basis from a particular AI thread, right, from a particular AI response, it's incumbent on the CX leaders to really look at that, analyze that, and identify where quick change can take place. So once you're getting that feedback in a dynamic fashion, it becomes an iterative process. And again, I think I talked earlier a little bit about the frontline operations of how and where they are able to bring true value to that. But ultimately, when you're utilizing this balance between AI and human is your escalation process, what that's looking to try and do is to make sure that A, they have job satisfaction, B, there is customer satisfaction, and that's defined at a clear and consistent level within your feedback loop. So whether that's CSAT, NPS, customer effort score, really doesn't matter, but being able to report that sentiment aspect in from each of these key stages enables you to make sure that you're making the right business decisions on a consistent basis. Hopefully this is all resonating. So 3 principles that I think it's important to apply. The first is the human first. And I think that's, if there's a rush to instantly deploy AI as being the total solution, it's critical when you're evaluating each of those processes to understand it from the customer perspective. So can technology deliver applications for you? Absolutely, yes, it can. Does that enhance the customer experience, or are you addressing that from a customer-focused perspective? That's a key part of deployment of technology, standing up that technology in a way that it means that there's consistent satisfaction. So human first, customer-centric process, deploy that in an AI smart environment. The second principle to apply there is measure the effort, right? What has it actually taken to deploy that AI? Is it really delivering the value that you expect? Is it protecting the brand as you wanted to do that? And that's not just looking at simple metrics such as the resolution. So I think we talked earlier, right? A 60% resolution from AI first, that's a huge impact, a huge transformational impact on a business. But has that actually satisfied that? If it's not a good customer experience, then are you really doing your brand justice? Those are all things that you want to look at. And closing this loop between both AI and humans means that there will be instances where you deploy AI and it doesn't work. It doesn't deliver that because you may have a high resolution effort, but if the customers had to repeat themselves 3 times, for example, if they have had to switch between different channels to get the level of satisfaction that they want, and potentially you've given them an answer, but when you actually see that CSAT coming back into your organization, you see that it didn't really resolve that. These are all opportunities to actually close that loop. So I think from Simplesat's perspective, where we position ourselves and how we internally are using AI to enhance our own platform is that picking out 2 or 3 journeys and looking at where can I have the immediate impact, but making sure that this is an iterative process rather than a business-wide application. The challenge with deploying things on a business-wide application is very simply that when you deploy it across the business, you're then challenged in terms of how you will actually measure the true impact of all of those things. And an example of this that we have is that we work with an organization, they rolled out an AI front door, champagne corks were popping, everyone was celebrating the fact that they've got this huge deflection number, and on paper it looked like a win. But when they started to deeper dive, when they were getting into the feedback management systems, when they were looking at all the the data that was coming back in, they were going into the dashboards, the CSAT score dropped significantly. And what that actually meant was, they were seeing comments such as, I can't reach a person, the bot doesn't understand me. Without actually seeing that feedback loop coming back in, they would never have understood that the customer experience had become a negative process. So what they were able to do, of course, once they've got that, is they changed the wording, they changed some of the workflow, they took a different approach to it. They actually instigated an automated engagement with customers where there was negative feedback, for example. So they've gone through the AI journey, not experienced things in a positive way, but it triggers a new ticket. We look at feedback management. We don't look at it as a number. So, you often hear CSAT score, I've got a 5-star CSAT rating or 5-star NPS rating. We look at it as an opportunity for engagement. We look at it as a feedback management tool that enables you to talk to your customers where your customers need that information, where they need that support. And you are identifying them still. And that's why this concept of human automation really starts to deliver value within that. So I think from a wrap-up perspective, for me, I think what you have to look at where you're balancing off this need for AI and human-led engagements is work with your CSAT. The CSAT need to understand what are they comfortable with from a business perspective, from a brand protection perspective. What do they see as being immediate? What do they see as being the long-term journey? And how are they going to measure that? And if you're running CX from a day-to-day basis, right? Start small, implement those, make sure that they are resilient, make sure that they are effective in the way that they are deployed. And look at how you can deploy technology. Simplesat is one, there are many that are in the marketplace. But if you're not getting effective feedback that you're able to utilize, that you're able to implement within your business in a dynamic fashion, then your business is at a risk. And I kind of would finish off with saying, when you get these things right, you're a hero. If you get them wrong, then for a lot of brands, that's existential. And so ultimately, it's not really about the future of CX. It's not about choosing between humans and AI. It's building an organization where you choose what they both do best and harmonizing those things. But our recommendation is to be constantly looking at feedback, checking that, balancing that, looking for constant improvements. Put that feedback loop in place, build on that, and take things forward. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Owen. That was great. So just one quick giveaway before we hand over to the next speaker. We have an Amazon voucher from our team at Simplesat. So Shannon Carpenter, you are the winner. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so moving along, we're coming up to the end here. So next up we have David Noller, AI Implementation Success Manager from Talentpop. Over to you, David.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. As mentioned, I'm David Noller. I'm the AI Implementation Success Manager at Talentpop. And for those who aren't familiar with us, we are a customer experience agency, and we specialize in building and managing CX teams for e-commerce brands. And a big part of what we do is helping these brands implement AI agents the right way. So I wanted to start with something I observe every single day working with our clients on Gorgias. When a brand is running a human-only CX team, the industry standard for first response time is generally around 3 hours and resolution time about 8. And they're pretty good benchmarks for a human team working hard. But when you introduce an AI agent into that same team and you combine all of the AI metrics with human, first response times drops usually to 30 seconds or less. and resolution time dropping to probably under an hour. And these aren't general projections or industry reports. This is what we observe across our own clients on Gorgias. So the real question for any brand in 2026 isn't, should we use AI? The question is, where does AI stop and where do your people begin? And that's what we're going to walk you through today. So let's talk about where AI genuinely shines. And the list is long, it keeps growing, but AI is exceptional at anything repetitive, factual, and high volume. Things like order status, return policies, shipping lookups, and subscription changes. These are the tickets that eat up a majority of your team's day. And when the AI handles them, it does it instantly, consistently, and around the clock. And the Gorgias AI agent with the shopping assistant layer on top, it does a remarkable job with product recommendations. It's not just support anymore. It's driving revenue directly from conversations. But I always come back to AI is fast, consistent, and tireless. And those are incredible qualities. But speed alone doesn't build a brand that customers come back to. So that's where the people come in. So let's look at the other side of the equation. What do humans do that AI simply cannot? Well, when a customer is frustrated, upset, or going through something emotionally charged, they don't want a fast response. They want to feel heard. And that's a human skill: empathy, tone, reading between the lines. Humans are also irreplaceable in those high stakes situations, complex orders, escalations, situations where the brand's reputation is on the line. Those moments, they require judgment. And calling out that last row specifically here, humans feeding AI with better guidance. This is something we see at Talentpop every day. Your best agents are the ones who catch when the AI gets it wrong, flags it, and help train the system to do it better. And that's a role that didn't exist a few years ago. And it's one of the most valuable things a CX team member can do today. So the best human agents, they aren't competing with AI. They're doing the work AI was never built to do. So if AI is handling all those repetitive tier 1 tickets, what do the agents actually do? Well, it doesn't replace the team, it promotes them. The first is the relationship builder. This is the agent who handles those emotionally complex conversations, the ones where a customer is upset, confused, or just needs to feel like a real human being's on their side. The second is the revenue driver. With AI covering the routine stuff, agents can now spend their time in richer conversations. And the third is the data detective. So the agents, they're on the front lines every day. They see patterns that no report will ever surface. And the fourth is the AI coach. And this is the agent. They review the AI responses, catch mistakes, and actively help improve the system. And at Talentpop, this is one of the most critical roles on our teams right now, especially with our AI QA specialists. So this isn't a vision for the future. This is how our teams operate today. And I just wanted to leave you something practical you can take away from today and implement. It lives right inside of Gorgias. One of the most common things that I see when a brand first sets up their Gorgias AI agent is they leave the tone of voice on default setting. And it does cost some CSAT points. So what I recommend instead, open the About Us page, send it into an AI of your choosing, and tell it to create a brand tone of voice for your AI. And give it some guardrails, what it should say, what it should never mention. And on the signature side of things, name it like a teammate is my advice. Something like Alex, your AI agent. And be transparent that it's an AI. You don't want to make it feel cold. So things like, I'm here to help, and if you'd prefer a human, just say the word. It goes a long way towards building trust. So now I just want to show you what this actually looks like in practice with real clients. Every single one of these, they came to us with 0% automation, no AI in place. Once was from 0 to 53% with a perfect 5 out of 5 CSAT. And their shopping assistant doing a great job of influencing their GMV. Sachin and Bobby even further, 68% automation, just chat for the AI agent. The humans are handling the email, and they're seeing a 75 times ROI. And for complicated brands, like go to Expedition, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but our setup is complicated. Well, Yoda has multiple vendors, complex order routing, all of these things. And even there, you can help, kind of split the workload between the AI and humans. So how do you find the balance for your brand? This is the framework. On the left side, anything repetitive, factual, high volume. On the right side, anything emotionally complex, relationship driven, or brand defining. And I think the most important thing today is this. It's not how much AI you use, it's whether the human layer around it is strong enough to make it work. And the brands that are winning right now have both, and they've been intentional about which is which. So if you need help figuring out where your brand sits in that framework, we'd love to talk. That's everything from my end. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope this helped to give you a clear picture of how to think about the human and AI balance inside your CX team. And we are giving away a $75 gift card, so scan the QR code. And with that, I'll turn it back to Alana.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Awesome. Okay, so the winner of that $75 gift card is Emma Morales. Congratulations. Thanks so much. All right. So just to wrap up here, just a quick heads up on something that we have coming up on April 30th. We're hosting our DTC X11 global event, also known as the largest virtual e-commerce event out there. It's packed with sessions on AI, automation, and customer experience. So if you're into the stuff we covered today, this event will be totally up your alley. So you can scan the QR code on the slide if we want to pop that back up. And you'll be able to RSVP. It's free, it's virtual, and it's going to be a good one. Let me just pop that up so you guys can see that. Sorry about that. Awesome. Okay. I'll give you guys a second there. And then just another quick note for anybody who may have joined us a bit later, or a reminder for everybody who's here, Gorgias Connect is back this year and we're going global with stops in New York, LA, London, and Paris. So it's a great opportunity to connect with other e-commerce operators and CX leaders and hear how top Shopify brands are scaling support, driving revenue, and doing more with less. So if you're interested in joining, you can scan the QR code on the screen to apply in the city that works best for you. Awesome. So thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. We hope you all got a great look of insights, and congratulations to all the winners on our special giveaways. And thanks so much. We'll see you guys on the next one.